history behind this holiday. Growing up, I knew that what they told you in school about Thanksgiving wasn't true. That's not the true story. The true story behind Thanksgiving was, after every killing of a whole village, these European settlers celebrated it, and they called it Thanksgiving. But it wasn't until Abraham Lincoln became president that it became an official holiday.
He ordered 38 Dakota men to be hung for war crimes.
After the sacred holiday Christmas.
We take this time to remember our elders who lost their lives due to what really happened. Usually my mom makes a Native American dish for us and we pray.
Growing up, I would be kind of annoyed that they didn't know what actually happened on Thanksgiving and that they're actually celebrating the deaths of many people and many tribes that were lost.
Whether it's to give thanks or to be with your family, you should learn how the holiday was established in the first place.
I'm thankful for being born indigenous to this continent.
I'm thankful that I still have my culture.
I'm thankful that my elders kept our culture alive all these years.
I'm thankful to be indigenous, resilient, and alive.
I'm thankful for us all to be able to stand together, stand strong, and stand as one.
Happy Thanksgiving, America.
Amos 5 and verse 21. It reads, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Kohalo Yahweh, Bashem, Mashiach Yahushai, Ruharu Kakodash. Double honors to the mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth in humbleness, sincerity. Again, I'm going to say shalom. Gonna come out of I'm gonna get straight to the lesson. Gonna come out of The Conquest of the New World, American Holocaust by David E. Stannard, and Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. Okay, Thanksgiving, okay, that's like Columbus Day 2.0. It's paganism, it's wickedness, and painfully, okay, two parts of our people, they're gonna perish taking on the ways of Babylon. And the Most High said to come out of the ways of Babylon, but we know painfully due to the prophecy in Zechariah 13 and 8, okay, Romans 9 and 6, two parts of our people, they're just gonna refuse to get it right. Okay, let's get that real quick. Let's get Revelations. Revelations chapter 18 and verse 2. It reads, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, it's become the habitation of devils, and hold of every foul spirit, and cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. That's talking about Babylon the Great, aka United States of America. Right? Verse 4, this is the point. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. Okay? Two parts of our people just won't get it. Let's get Jeremiah. We're going to go into these books. Then we wind it down. Grab a couple of more scriptures, precepts, and I'll shut it down. Let's get the classic in Jeremiah. Because they're in the season of this paganism. Now, all praise to the Most High. We have our feast days approaching. Okay, we have We have, I believe it's the Feast of Dedication. Some say Hanukkah, but the Feast of Dedication is biblical. Christ kept the dedication. There's a account in the Apocrypha. Okay, so we are prepping for that. But, you know, the whole world should be cleaving to the biblical days versus this witchcraft America pushes, right? And the Most High is not really dealing with any of that. Slakia. Okay. Let's get that. Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2. It reads, Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. And that's dealing with the other nations. That's not dealing with Israel. As I said, due to the curses in 2 parts of our people, they're gonna act as heathens and perish in this destruction when it comes to pass, right? Okay, and this madness is approaching very soon. Verse 3, it says, For the custom of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest that worked the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Okay, this was a Babylonian custom. Okay, now America, they inherited that custom and called it Christmas. Okay, Christ wasn't born on December 25th. There's no book, chapter, verse, or precepts to support the narrative. So it's a false narrative. Okay, I believe there are accounts. There's an account in Luke. Yahushua, excuse me. The Mashiach, he was born more so around spring. Okay, not the cold of winter. Right? Let's see if there's any more. Jeremiah 10 and verse... We're going to read Jeremiah 10 and verse 9. It reads, Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Upaz, the work of workmen and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They're all work of cunning men. And that's just dealing with that Babylonian practice. It's paganism. Okay? And, you know, the elites, the current rulers of this earth, that's all they push. Paganism and witchcraft and fraudulent feast days. Okay, let's get into let's get American Holocaust. I just want to pull a couple Columbus accounts. Give me a second. And this novel right here, American Holocaust by David E. Standard, it's a good book to have in your library. A lot of history in here. Okay. We're gonna read. I have an account on Columbus. Okay. We're going to read from page 61. I'm going to start at the very last paragraph. It says, in precisely those years when Columbus was trekking around Europe in search of support for his maritime adventures, it says the Inquisition was raging in Spain. Okay, in the Spanish Inquisition, the Inquisition was the earliest stages of their European Renaissance. And in that Renaissance, they were whitewashing. Okay, they were basically destroying the Byzantine Empire, which was run by so-called people of color, chiefly the Israelites. Okay. You had kings like King James, contrary to popular belief. King James was a Negro. Okay, he was a Hebrew, and there were many other kings that reigned and ruled Europe. You can read that in Revelations, the 20th chapter. Okay, when you read all of Revelations 20, it tell you that the beast will rise again. When you read further down, roughly paraphrasing, I'm somewhat messing that up, but we ruled during the Byzantine Empire, but you know, the Most High, through prophecy, he had it set where, you know, the beast dealing with the dukes of Edom, they will rise. That wicked seed, okay, Isaiah 14 and 20, they will rise again, and they ruled this world. You read that in Daniel's accounts, okay? Chiefly Daniel's 2, I believe Daniel 7. When you read Daniel, you go into that little horn that came out from among the other rulers, okay? Your 10 common markets, but America was that little horn, that last mighty nation to stand before the great judgment. Okay, but it's the Dukes of Edom that control this world, led by your Amalekites. Okay, we're on page 62 from the top. I'm gonna start that from the top. It says, in precisely those years when Columbus was trekking around Europe in search of support for his maritime adventures, the Inquisition was raging in Spain. He said that was the Spanish Inquisition. Here and elsewhere in Europe, those out of favor with the powerful, particularly those who were believed to be unchristians, were tortured and killed. In the most ingenious of fashions, on the gallows at the stake, on the rack, while others were crushed, beheaded, flawed alive, or drowned and quartered. So this was like gross torture. And they were doing this to chiefly the Hebrews. Okay, because it was the Israelites chiefly that was running this world in what we called, what the world called the Dark Ages. Okay, that's a lot of history that racism, white supremacy, they don't like to bring that out. You look at what's left, how do you say, the Sphinx in Egypt, how they cut off the nose. There's a lot of iconoclasm when racism, white supremacy took this world over. You can read that account in Genesis, I believe that's 2740 on down. Okay, because what they do, they rule with the sword, right? They run this world violently, and that's why we see in the judgment pan out. Okay, let's read on. Okay, next paragraph. It reads, on the very day that Columbus finally set foot on his journey that would shake the world, the port of the city he sailed from was filled with ships that were deporting Jews from Spain. Okay, and we're not talking about, you know, the small hatters. We're talking about the Israelites that was running this world during the Dark Ages. Okay, from the top, it says the port of the city he sailed from was filled with ships that were deporting Jews from Spain. Okay, by the time expulsions was completed, between 120,000 and 150,000 Jews, Negroes chiefly, had been driven from their homes, their valuables, often meager, having first been confiscated, and then they were cast out to sea. As contemporary describes the scene. Okay, this is really going into the curse that the Lord poured on us. You know, when you read Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, you know, the Lord, it was prophesied the Lord will punish Israel. There's even the Matthew 27 account where, you know, the Jews said, let the blood be on our hand and our children. You read Matthew 27, I believe. So that's not all nations. Okay, the Israelites are under the curse. Okay, and the remnant elect will be delivered in the last days. The 144 and the remnant body. But the majority of Hebrew Israelites in the world, they're going to burn in nuclear destruction and be judged because they want to cleave to paganism. Okay. Thanksgiving is, again, it's nothing more than a celebration of not just Columbus, but it's the celebration of the death of billions of Israelites. Okay. The real Holocaust, the real Holocaust was when Negroes was transported by cargo slave ships to the four corners of the earth. You can read all that in Deuteronomy 28, okay, Zechariah 1 and 21. There are many Ezekiel accounts, right? There's a bunch of accounts, but that was the true Holocaust. And to this day, hurricanes even take the paths of where slave ships went. That's to this day. Okay, so the Most High didn't lie about what the true Israelites will go through. All praise to the Most High. It appears we could be at the end, but you know, we're still here, so we have to teach, give exhortation, do our best to bid the marriage, right? Let me read on. Next paragraph, it reads, we're still on page 62, American Holocaust, page 62, third paragraph, it reads, it was pitiful to see their sufferings. Many were consumed by hunger, especially nursing mothers and their babies. Half-dead mothers held, half-dead mothers held dying children in their arms. I can hardly say how cruel and greedily they were treated by those who transported them. Many were drowned by the avarice of soldiers, and those who were unable to pay their passage sold their children. Wow. Okay. When you really go into slavery, entire families were sold. Okay. Wholesale families were sold. That's where this whole Black Friday come from. Right? When you read this, when you really dig in the scriptures, the Most High had it where we would be sold as slaves as a punishment. This didn't happen to the small hatters. This is the history of the real Jews, who are so-called Negroes, Natives, Latinos, Mexicans, those scattered to the four corners of the earth. Okay? Still on page 62. It's going to be the last paragraph. I'm going to try to get a paragraph or two from Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands. Page 62, paragraph 4. American Holocaust. This was the world an ex-trader of African slaves named Christopher Columbus and his shipmates left behind as they sailed from the city of Palos in August of 1492. Okay. And it wasn't African slaves, it was Israelite slaves. When you read the Joel accounts, I believe Joel 3 and Psalms 83, Tyre and Zidon, and there's a lot of Hamitic nations listed in Psalms. Okay. It tell you the Most High show us by way of the scriptures. The Hamitic nation sold us with the Grecians, who was the children of Edom. Okay, so Israelites didn't sell Israelites. Okay. According to the scriptures, the nation sold Israel, and the Most High allowed it as a punishment. Right? Let's carry on. It says, left behind as they sailed from the city of Palos in August of 1492. It was a world racked by disease, that killed in massive numbers. This is going into that dark plague. For those that study the dark plague, there was a massive plague in the dark ages, and that was another punishment from the Most High, right? Okay, that killed chiefly Israelites, but it was that actually took out some heathens as well. Okay, it says disease that killed in massive numbers, but importantly that also tended to immunize survivors. Okay, a world in which all but wealthy often could not feed themselves, and in which the wealthy themselves hungered after gold. It was a world as well of cruel violence and certainly of holy truth. Little wonder that then that first report back from the Atlantic voyage purportedly to the Orient caused such sensations across the length and breadth of Europe. Okay, that was just the early days of the rise of white supremacy, for lack of better words. See if I can pull an account from Lost Tribes, and we're gonna wind it down. Let's try to get the Columbus account in here. Page 74, the Lost Tribes in the Promised Land. Okay. And it's good to have these historic accounts. We're gonna read Enter Columbus. I'm trying to get a meaningful paragraph. It's good to have these books, but the majority of books that deal with Columbus, they openly admit, okay, he used Israelite translators to talk to the people that was already here in North America. Okay, trying to find an account. Okay, give me one moment, family. Let's read page 78 out of the Lost Tribes and Promised Land. It reads, I'm going to read that paragraph. We're going to read the second paragraph. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs from this one. Lost Tribes in the Promised Lands, page 78, starting at the second paragraph. It reads, it says, this was often to be cited by Columbus. Check this out. Who argued that since only, it says, 1/7 of the world was water, a good deal more dry land than yet was known remained to be discovered overseas. Check this out. But Columbus seemed to have found more in Esdras. Where is Esdras found? Esdras is found in the Apocrypha, and the Apocrypha is historically the original Catholic Bible. Okay, you have the King James 1611, but contrary to popular belief, the Apocrypha is in the Catholic Bible, and it's also in the Orthodox Bible. So that's for all these dummy Christians that allege the Apocrypha is a false book. They would have to take that up with the Vatican. The Apocrypha is a very historic account to the scriptures. Okay, the Apocrypha is part of the original text, but it was taken out by the Lutheran Church, I believe, to keep God's real people asleep, right? Let's read on. It says, but Columbus seemed to have found more in Esdras than just this geographic argument. Here is one of the things he writes about. This verse in his marginal notes. But this prophecy is not accepted by the reprobate Jews. I'm gonna leave that alone. Yet it has been accepted by innumerable ones among them who have believed in the Gospels. Israel has thus been split into two branches, northern and southern kingdom. Okay, a division predicted as inevitable by the prophet Samuel to King Saul. The reprobate Jews themselves hold Ezra's, that is Old Testament Ezra, as a chronological authority. Okay, when you read those accounts, okay, these prophecies actually played out. Let me see if I can get that. Let me see if I can get that account from the Apocrypha. One moment. And Israel, don't make sacrifice. You know, I know a lot of families giving out turkey and stuffing. Don't accept that stuff, man. Do not accept that stuff, man, because we're not to make sacrifice into these pagan holidays, man. And I know that's a tough out for a lot of us, because we were raised to keep these pagan feast days, but once you come into the knowledge of the truth, you know, we can't partake in these feast days. Right? Let me see if I can get this account. Give me one moment. There's an account in Second Ezra I need to bring out. We're gonna wind it down. We're gonna wind it down real soon. Let's get Second Ezra. I believe we want Second Ezra 13 and 40. Give me a minute. Stay up on these global events, Israel, because it's still a lot happening. Gotta keep that in mind. Most High is setting the stage for his chosen to be delivered. And America and little America gonna get roasted in nuclear fire if it be the Lord. Alright? Second Ezra. I want Second Ezra 13 and 40. We're gonna read this one. Second Ezra chapter 13 and verse 40. It reads, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanazar the king of Assyria led away captives, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Okay, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. Okay, and this is dealing with the Gadites, so-called Native Americans, your Latinos, your Mexicans. Okay, that's dealing with a lot of these tribes. Okay, your Tainos. Right? Let's carry on. Second Ezra 13 and 43, and it reads, they entered into the Euphrates from the top, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and he held still the flood till they were passed over. For though that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, so it took a long time for them to get there. But the Most High, he seen that Israel made it to the so-called free world. Let's read on. Verse 45. For though that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Oseret. Okay, it says, and the same region is called Oseret. Oseret is another name for Babylon, North America. Okay. But to the point, the 10 tribes arrived in America way before Christopher killing Columbus. Right? So let's close out with a few more scriptures. We're gonna end it. Let's get second Esdras. No, not second Esdras. Let's get Exodus. There's a lot of, especially Americans, a lot of Babylonian Americans, they have tendencies to believe that America is this safe, holy place that won't be judged for what they have done to God's chosen people. Let me remind them that, you know, the powers that be, the elites, your Ku Klux Klan, America is going to be judged for what, you know, for crimes against the children of Israel. Exodus 21:16. Exodus 21:16, it reads, "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." Now, slavery really began before 1492. It really started in around right around 1442, somewhere around that time. That's when they began to enslave Israel, beginning with the Spaniards, and then it was then they furthered it. Okay, the European continents begin to get involved. Okay, you read Psalms 83, the nations begin to get confederate against Israel. Okay, and that played out to this very day because you have something called child trafficking. Okay, and you have another thing going on out there where they kidnapping our young children and they taking their melanin, but I won't get too deep in that. So we still getting mistreated by, you know, these wicked kings and the heathens, and sadly 2 parts of our own people. So the Lord's going to shut down this wicked empire and deliver Israel. Okay, let's read that again. Exodus 21:16, it reads, "And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." Okay, I'm gonna say this: Israelites bidding the marriage, Israelites praying for deliverance, you know, we have every right to. It's not a crime to call on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob for deliverance, because America, only thing America did to God's chosen people was keep them in a lower state. Excuse me. Only thing America continue to do is keep our people downtrodden and oppressed by way of your court system. Okay, the how do you say this? It's a very oppressive government when it comes to people of color. America never did anything to wake up God's people. They just seen that they tried their best to keep God's chosen people in a very low state, but that didn't work, because now you have Israelite camps teaching worldwide. Okay, and all praise for that. You have brothers like myself giving exhortation. You have Israelites, you have Hebrew Israelite groups roundabout bidding this marriage, waking up the lost sheep, so the elect remnant could be delivered from this wicked place, because the Lord will judge this place. Okay, let's get we're gonna end it here probably. 2 Corinthians 6 and verse We're going to read 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. It says, wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, said the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Now this is symbolic, okay? Because you read verse 16 is really dealing with these church facilities. The Most High Spirit don't dwell in them, right? But the Lord saying here to come out of the ways, not just of them wicked Sunday churches, but from the philosophies of Babylon the Great, okay? That's why I brought out Revelations 18, because the Lord wants us to take our mindset out of Babylon the Great and keep the law, statutes, commandments, so you can get deliverance. I don't care how much money they offer. When the judgment day come, it's all gonna burn up, right? So we have to do right by Yahweh Shai. Okay, we have to keep his commandments. That's the ultimate goal. You got to keep the commandments and teach this gospel, chiefly to Israel. It's not really for the other nations. I mean, they can learn it, but they're gonna be slaves, and you know, when Christ show up, they're gonna be some servants to Israel. Okay, you can read that in Revelations 2. Okay, Revelation 2nd chapter, around 25 on down. The other nations, they're gonna get it, and there's another account. You know, it says the nations that don't serve thee, they're gonna get put to death. Okay, roughly paraphrasing. So we have to come back to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob before this judgment day come. Okay, but that's all I want. I don't want to keep y'all too long. It's a short history on you know, this paganism, Columbus. You know, the Most High, he don't want us partaking in these wicked pagan holidays, but rather his feast days, and teaching his truth. Okay, until the Most High save us out of this this captivity. Okay. With that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High power of Israel, Yahweh, Ba'Shem HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness, sincerity. Israel, I love y'all. We got next. Shalom.